Alright, this is a quick demo for the Atlas project. Atlas is an interactive map built for the game Starbase and those who play it. Atlas comes as a executable, a standalone, portable. You can run it pretty much from wherever you want. The location you run it does tend to matter though. You can find the executable on the GitHub repository under releases. Download, run it, you're good to go. Easy peasy. When you boot up the executable, we get Atlas. You'll notice a bunch of things at once. First off, we got our notification that default JSON storage was initialized. You'll notice on the left here we have a waypoint data.json. I'll touch that in a second. Otherwise, let's take a look at our interface. This is a standalone application, as you would expect. It runs natively, currently just for Windows. If there are Mac users out there that would like it, let me know and I'll see about if I can compile one or not, though Mac can be a little shifty. For our interface, you have basic window controls at the top. Drag the window along the top bar. This bar expands out. We have waypoints, save, import, reload, and controls, along with a link to the GitHub and some about information. At the bottom right, we have an FPS counter that you can click to flip between a couple different modes. And then we have a pan speed slider. So this is an interactive map in a three-dimensional environment. You can pan with left click, right click. If you're ever concerned or confused about the controls, we can toggle a controls display here. This gives you information about where your local storage file currently is. This supports WASD as well, in order to kind of pan around as if you were maybe playing creative Minecraft or something. Space makes you go up, shift makes you go down, etc., etc. You've probably also noticed that you can hover over a waypoint and it will tell you the name of the waypoint. For instance, this is Origin Station 18 and it will tell you the coordinate of the waypoint. Very handy. Now, as far as waypoints are concerned, you need an ability to manage waypoints. So on our left here, when we go waypoints, we get our Waypoint Management screen. This guy has several pieces to it. You have a form at the top for creating new waypoints, and then you have a list of existing waypoints. Lists of existing waypoints can be grouped. For instance, we have EOS waypoints here. We have an Origins waypoints, right? We can expand these. We can mess with them as all we want. Sometimes, if you're out and about, this program it's on a much larger scale than it originally seems. If you ramp up your pan speed down here, you can get to great distances, and it's still smooth. So as Starbase expands as a game, this will make it very easy to place other celestial bodies in the area relative to each other, and theoretically, we may have an entire solar system someday. But when you're out and about panning, getting back to these itty-bitty tiny little waypoints can be tricky. Let me pull this guy back down. So in our waypoint management, you can jump to view a waypoint. For instance, let's go take a look at north. We jump to view the waypoint. You can also hide waypoints if you see fit at any given moment. And then you can also delete some waypoints. Let's delete some of these guys. All right, we can delete some of these guys. By default, when the program boots up, default waypoints are stored and loaded into the waypoint data.json. This is your local storage file. It lives right next to the executable. So when the program boots and it doesn't find this file, it will create one with all of these standard default waypoints in it. But if you go in and you add your own waypoints, for instance, let's do a testing point here. Let's stick it in a group called the best. And we'll give it let's give it like a 5,000, 10,000, 3,000, for instance, right? Let's make it something that stands out. We got a color swatch here. We can let's grab something nice and pink, for instance. And then you can select an icon of your choice. You'll note I have several company icons in here thus far. If you are interested in getting your icon in this list so that people can potentially make waypoints with your company icon, if you want company waypoints that you share internally, then let me know. DM me on Discord. You can find my information in the GitHub repository, and I can work with you to get your icon in here easy peasy. In the meantime, we're gonna grab a UFO, because why not? We're gonna add this waypoint. You'll note immediately that my screen updated. There's my testing point at the coordinate that I set. It will also appear at the bottom of my list here under the best waypoints section. So let's reduce that guy down. We can view that waypoint. We can hide that waypoint. It all works as expected. Now, once you're kind of, done fiddling with your waypoints, you may want to save them, of course. Live saving is not a thing. If you want to save, you have to do it manually. So on the left here, I can hit save waypoints, and we get a dialog with two options. You can either save to your standard storage, which is this waypoint data.json, or you can save to a JSON file of your choice. And you can click this button and you'll pick a file path, and when you click save, it saves. For now, let's save to our storage, our standard storage. So on our left here, this guy was 8 kilobytes, now it's 6. It's saved successfully. And what that lets us do is, if I close our program out, hop back in here, boot a program back up again, it will notice that waypoint.data.json exists. It will read directly from it, and you'll see that our changes have indeed been saved. There's our testing point right there, and all of the ones that we deleted. Now, because this is a standalone application, it does not talk to a backend, it does not talk to a server. Everything is stored locally on your computer, which means if you want to share your waypoints with another person, you have to share JSON files. These are very small, very compact, very easy. You can hop in here, save as to a specific file, and then share that with people if you want. If you get a file, of course, you're going to want the ability to import waypoints. So we'll hit our import waypoints here. Very straightforward process. In this dialog box, first you're going to want to select a JSON file, right? We're going to select our waypoint data, right? We got it selected. We're going to load data, so you got to click load next. And it'll tell you how many waypoints it loaded, and you get a list of the waypoints that it loaded. So you'll notice in this list, there's our testing point because we saved to that file, remember? Here you can uncheck waypoints, so you can check all of them, you can select none of them, you can select only 1 or 2, however many you want to import. And then as per the note at the bottom, the way that importing works is it takes the waypoints loaded from the JSON file and merges them into active memory. So what this means is that you can't have waypoints that have the same ID. So if I export a file that has origin station 1, and then you go to import it, but your program already has that origin station 1 waypoint, it will skip it, and it will notify you. For instance, right now, we're essentially trying to copy over all the points we already have. If I hit import, I get a warning. All 24 points were skipped due to duplicate IDs, and it tells you which ones by name were skipped. So let's see if we can't get rid of some here. I'm gonna go into my Waypoint Manager. We're gonna delete a bunch of these green ones. Maybe delete a couple of these. We'll get rid of our testing point, right? And we'll let Ison survive. So we deleted a bunch of these. Now this isn't necessarily saved yet. We're still working in active memory. I haven't saved anything. So waypoint data still contains our old set of waypoints. So then, if I hop in here, I go through this whole process, load, I get the 24 again. Now, if I hit import, you'll notice on our main screen right here, they all get loaded, and only 10 points were skipped because 10 of them were bad. Hey, we already had those, but the rest of them imported successfully, and they are here. Now I can hop in and I can save to however I want to save. So that is pretty much the extent of the features of Atlas at this moment of the recording of this video. The only other note that I have is you can check out the GitHub repo by clicking it here. You can also, if the program ever seems to bug out or freak out on you in any manner and you don't know what's happening, a lot of the times a nice solid reload will fix things. It just reloads the whole program from scratch. Most bugs I've encountered can be fixed that way. though at the moment it's pretty damn stable. So if you like it, think about throwing me a star on the GitHub repo. Feel free to poke me with any questions on Discord. And yeah, enjoy Atlas.